What's up, everybody? Welcome back to B&N Customs. Today we are starting to strip down the town car. And got a good start on it so far. Gonna keep going on it. The goal is to probably just add one other door and the bumper off of it. Then we'll be done with stripping it for the day. I got some other stuff I gotta get done. But yeah, we're finally getting into it. We're finally gonna start stripping down the town car. So far what I've done is obviously you can see front clips off of it. Ran all the wires out of the door panels. It was a little bit of a pain, but I didn't want to cut anything because I don't know what I'll need or what it'll not run without. So saved everything for now. And got the back seat out. Got the front seat bolts soaking. They're pretty rusty, so I soak those. Got all the weather stripping off. Got the trunk lid off. And I said probably get this back bumper off today. And trunk's off there. Not the roomiest in here for doing this, but it'll work. And as you can see, fits in here. I got it on the dollies to roll it around. All the tires are flat, so this was the best thing for it. I got one more vehicle that'll actually come in here this winter. It's an old F-150 I inherited from my grandfather. That'll sit in here while I'm not working on it. And then the idea is when I'm working on it, we'll pull that one outside, push the town car in the center, we'll keep stripping it. Hopefully we'll have this strip here maybe by end of next week. And then once that's done, I still got 2 bolts holding the cab on the old truck here. Got those soaking right now as well. We'll see if we can pull them, otherwise we'll just cut them. Got the bed off it. Front end's obviously off it. We've done that a while ago. Can't wait to get this frame out of here and get some space back. So yeah, here's the last one here, then one on that side. Other than that, everything else has been cut out. And then getting it off here, we'll have to disconnect the steering column. Probably just gonna cut it just to save time. Anything else I've disconnected on this side, cut any old brake lines, wiring off, so it should be free. Should be. Usually there's something you missed. It's all right. Get to that. Yeah, we're working on it and not rushing through it. This is obviously a pretty big project for me to attempt, but we'll get it done. My goal is by springtime have it running on its own power. I wouldn't call it finished, but running and moving on its own power, looking like a truck. Then we'll move on to more of the fun stuff and finishing it and wheels and tires and all that fun stuff, interior stuff. So yeah, that's the update as of now on the town car. Hopefully have this stripped by the end of next week and we can get anything out of here that we don't need from that, get some space back that way. Gonna hang on to a few things that I know could potentially use, but things like doors and trunk lid and all that stuff I'm gonna take to scrap. We'll hold on to the front seats for now. Something I plan to use them, but maybe short term we use them for a little while. And started soaking those manifold bolts. Those are pretty rusty too. I'd like to throw some headers on it while we have a little more access to everything. And other than that, the engine will probably remain fairly stock. It'd be cool if we did a cam set in it someday, but they're a little bit of a pain to do on these, so probably not going to happen anytime soon. We'll do some exhaust work on it, maybe make it look a little better under the hood. Other than that, we're going to keep working on it. Be back in a while. So we're back on the town car here. Wanted to go over a little bit of what we got going on. Yesterday, I cut the roof out of it just to make it a little more manageable, because most of the time it's just me here doing this, so I needed it to be a little more manageable. So got the roof out. Next, I'll cut out this back section, hoping that kind of everything you see here in this zone there comes out as one large piece with the glass. Got to do a little more wiring removal, kind of push that through so that stays up in the front. When I get this off, I got the 2 bolts out of the back. There's a couple of body mount bolts there. Got those out. And what else we got? Obviously those seats, carpet, that's all out of there. A lot of electronics. Due to the fact that it's a Lincoln, I think we were dealing with a little more than if we would have had a Crown Vic, but kind of one of those is what it is deals here. I think it'll be worth it in the end. So got another issue. You can see I got a couple of ground extensions, which aren't the best, but I got another issue going on. Right now when I start it, if I want it to stay running, got to keep the key in the start position. I don't have the key on me right now. It's up on the keyboard over there, but got to keep the key in the start position to keep it running. And as soon as I let off of that, it'll stall out. Thinking it's the electronic part of the ignition switch, which is down here. I think it's this piece here. Hopefully. I'm going to give that a try. I think I can pick one up for about 40 bucks. Throw one of those in there and see if that helps us at all. Other than that, things are going okay. Going pretty smooth on it. Got most of everything off the front out of here that I guess every time I say I got most of what I need off here, I'm just going to be going by the seat of my pants on this. We're not going to know what needs to come and go until this is done. It's going to be one of those things. I've watched a couple, I don't know, as many videos as I could find on this. Got on all the different groups online, asked my questions. But I think in the end, it's still going to be one of those deals where you just got to do it yourself and figure out what works, what doesn't, make some mistakes. That's kind of the whole idea with this channel anyway, is most people can do this stuff if you're willing to put in the effort. I don't have a lot of crazy tools. I do have a cutoff wheel that helped a little bit speed up that, but other than that, hand tools. I got electric impact that speeds things up a little bit, but should be a project that just about anybody could handle if they were willing to put in the effort and stay focused on it and not give up when things get tough. So that's kind of the update on the car. Now, if we go out here, I've got the cab off the truck and the frame is gone. Got rid of that. And that's nice because that's out of the way. So I got to strip a few things off this firewall, or maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll get into that in a second here. But cab's sitting here on the ground. I've been using the bed to hold all the Lincoln stuff I've been pulling out. Gonna have to pull all that out of there, put it on the trailer and take that off to the dump somewhere. But yeah, got the bed here, got the cab there. Those are the wheels that were on it. Those won't work on the Lincoln, which is fine. But they were brand new tires, new wheels, so I didn't want to let them go with the frame. I pretty much gave the frame away, got $100 for it. Guy came and loaded it up, said he was gonna build a rat rod with it. So I kept those, and I might actually put them on the Ram Charger just to help store it this winter. Got the same bolt pattern as the Ram Charger. I'll show you why here in a second, but up here I got the Ram Charger. It's not here for the winter yet, just got it out of the way here, but wheels kind of hang off the lift a little bit on both sides, about maybe, I don't know, 1.5 2 inches. And it's not really an issue, but I think with those other wheels on it, it would sit up there a little tighter, so might give that a try. I'm gonna take this to a trunk or treat at the kids' school. Gonna decorate the back end of it, leave it on these wheels, and once I'm done with that, I'm gonna kind of get it ready for winter, I think. And then also I got to do the yellow car yet. But anyway, back on this guy. Here's the front clip. Got this on a little roller dolly, so I can move that around. And hanging on to a few pieces in here for now. Probably won't need them. I don't think I'm gonna use these seats. Well, I know long run I will not use these seats, but it might be nice to have one here for a little while we're moving this around until the seats I want have been picked out. And so don't want to dump too much money into it, and as of right now we don't have a lot into it other than the cost of this car and some cutoff wheels. And obviously in the end we'll need a set of wheels and tires, and you could run it on these, but all these tires don't hold air, they're all flat. And I figure by the time you replace those tires or even just pull them and had them sealed up, just not worth it to me. I don't want those on it anyway. And so we'll ditch those. So I got it on the little casters here to get it around on the shop for now. May pull them off there just to pull this outside on the flats, just to clean out the shop. And kind of once I get the body off this, I'd like to kind of pressure wash the frame on it and get it all cleaned up before it comes in here for the winter to get the truck put on it. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm gonna hopefully get back on it this evening and get hopefully the rest of this back half of this body off here. So we gotta pull the back half of the body off, gotta pull the front where the windshield is yet. Then we got to cut this down on the pinch weld, probably somewhere in here. Well, I think a lot of guys go right on this pinch weld here, and you run that all the way back along here till, I believe, about somewhere in here, maybe. That's about where I'm going to cut the floor. It's about there, right behind this B-pillar. And may end up cutting more of it off, but I don't want to short myself. So we'll cut it about there for now, and then everything else behind that will go. Obviously those B-pillars got to come off there all the way, but like I said earlier, I just wanted to make it a little easier to lift stuff, get them out of here. So cut them there, got that chunk off as one piece, and then we'll do the rest hopefully as another chunk here, another chunk up here. And then once that body's off there, we'll get this outside, hopefully get it all cleaned up, back in here, and then maybe we'll start putting the truck on it. Be cool to say we do it in a couple of weeks. I don't think that's possible just because of my schedule and the amount of time I can actually dedicate to this, but hoping tonight to put a few hours in on it and get a little more of this body off of here. Might have to see if I can call in on a friend to help lift some heavy things here in the next few days. My guess is that piece is going to have some weight to it with that glass in there. Not too worried about damaging it. Don't want to crack the glass because I don't want glass pieces all over my shop and all out in front here, so it'd be nice to keep it whole. Then I'm going to call a scrap guy, have him haul all of this off here. If you're doing one of these, or if you've done one of these, my kind of big concern is I'm just a little nervous about wiring. I'm trying to label things as I go with a little bit of masking tape. You know, for the tail light here, we got left tail light, right tail light. So hopefully we can kind of graft that all into the truck bed. I'd like to remove as much wiring as possible, but I'm nervous to do it because I don't want to have electrical issues or no start issues or starts but won't stay running issues. And I know a lot of this stuff was just for door locks and window motors, stereo equipment, which would be kind of nice to keep some of the stereo equipment, I guess, in the cab of the truck. But I'd like to get all that wiring that you see on the back pulled through, have it all up front, get the back panel off, and then kind of clean up the wiring, even if it means just kind of tidying it up and bundling it and kind of tucking it down in the floor of the cab. I know that's not ideal, but that way you're not having issues with it, I guess. I don't know. In a perfect situation, I'd just remove it and cap off at the ends where I cut it, but we'll see how it goes. I've been pushing them all through the door pillars. I got to do this one yet. This one's got a lot of stuff on it. This one's got the master control for the door panel, had some sort of module on it that had to be on there in order to get the seats to move forward and back. Power pedals still don't work. I don't know what I've got disconnected or not properly connected somewhere, but it had power adjustable pedals. Not a huge deal if they don't work, but kind of was nice because I don't know how this is all going to sit up in the cab of the truck. So it was nice to have any adjustability we could find. Probably will get them working, I don't know. Probably just something I got disconnected that's causing them not to run. Yeah, if you've done one of these, comment below. Anything you know that I should be looking to do, that I should be aware of. Like I said earlier, I've watched several videos on this, got a lot of different Facebook groups that I'm part of that do these Crown Vic swaps to different platforms. As of right now, I'm planning on using the Crown Vic floor, firewall, steering column, but not the dash. I'd like to use the old truck dash. Fits together a little better that way. I know a lot of guys don't use the Crown Vic floor, some even don't use the firewall, and I don't know. It just seems like a lot to disconnect and reconnect, and I don't know. You got your brakes, you got all sorts of different harnesses mounted on the firewall here. Obviously some grounds, that's not a big deal, but then you got your climate control stuff like your AC heater box, everything up here. And I guess if I were to pull that off there to free up some space, which I might do, but I think at that point I would just skip it altogether and not put it back in, because I've seen on a lot of these that it takes up a lot of space in the cab on the truck once it's put together. So we'll see if we decide to keep it or not. Like I said, kind of going by the seat of my pants on this. I've never done something this scale of a project, and I guess the biggest reason I decided to do it is I've seen enough guys attempt it, and it looks doable. So let's give it a try. I got a great deal on the truck, and even better deal on this town car, I think. And then it's been done, so I can do it too. That's kind of where I'm at with it. You don't get anything done that you don't attempt. And if it's something you're after or something you want to do, don't let anyone stand in your way. Don't let people tell you can't do it. Just give it your best shot. And it's not going to be easy. You're going to have hurdles along the way on something like this. And I mean, I would imagine anyone that's thinking about doing something like this, keep in mind it's not your everyday car. It's a project, it's a toy. So let's say things aren't going the way you hoped. You're up against a hurdle, you don't know what to do next. Maybe you don't know how to do a particular task on the project. Maybe you don't know how to weld. I guess I wouldn't let that stop you. I didn't know how to weld before really getting into this project, and for the last few months I've been practicing welding, starting with just a bunch of scrap metal. And after that, I built that overland trailer. If you watch that video, did some welding on that. And my son and I, we built a little fire pit, and I got a few more things I'm going to practice on. I built this little metal dice that I keep up here now, and that was just all little separate panels. Welded those together and cleaned them up. Didn't know how to weld less than 2 months ago, so don't let things like that stop you. Give it a try. Maybe there'll be some ugly welds. Maybe things won't line up the way you planned, but in the end you can say you did it, and you can always adjust it, change it, perfect it as you go. Anyway, what I was getting at is it's probably not your daily driver, so let it take its time. You get a hard day, take a couple days off, come back when you got a clear mind and you're ready to put in a few more hours. That's kind of how I'm approaching this. So anyway, that's it on the town car teardown, and it's alive, still runs. There ain't much left of it, but yet it still runs. Still runs really well, actually. Did manage to cut through a brake line when I was cutting up the frame, so I'm gonna have to replace that. But we're getting pretty close to stripped down, and it starts up. I had a couple issues getting it running. I was just missing that I had unhooked a ground for the fuel pump. Once I got that figured out, looks like everything's going. Gauges are working. Obviously, we got some lights on. Miles are reading. This thing's only got 104,000 on it, which is, I don't know, pretty great. Low mileage car for what we're doing with it. So next step, you gotta cut these A-pillars off and then get the dash out. But I like to start it every so often and just see if it's still wanting to do that. If not, I don't have to track myself back too far. I just have to track back to whatever I had done last. So now that it's running, I don't have enough time right now, but I wish I did. I would get it outside. I want to kind of wash off the motor and the frame. I want to sand off some of the surface rust on it, and I'm going to paint that all black before we put everything back on it. So once we get this, I'll probably do a little more disassembly on it, maybe tonight, and then start getting it cleaned up and ready for that stuff. Cabin box and front clips over here. So yeah, it's alive. Well, we got the cab in the shop. That means we're getting close to putting it on. Crown Vic Town Car, sorry, is really close. Got the rockers off along both sides except for up front. Got the frame, took a wire wheel to it, cleaned it up, put some primer on it, then put some fresh black paint on it, everything that you could see. Got the dash out. Got the steering column dropped, got the cluster out. Kind of tidied up the wires a little bit just to keep them out of the way. We'll have to go through them and clean them up, remove what we don't need. Kind of hesitant to do that until we're a little further along, because I want to make sure anything I remove can still be, the car will still be able to be used. And right now it is in op. You could not start it right now in the condition it's in, just because I got enough stuff disconnected. Kind of got the main ones here out. I think one's for the ABS, one's for the computer. So obviously the car would not start right now. And got the floor removed in the back. Got this piece here that I'm still debating if I'm going to remove or not. If I keep it, I got to clean it up a bit and get rid of these edges on here. You can kind of see when I was cutting it out, I just kind of gave it a rough cut just to get it out of there. I didn't know how far down to go because you couldn't see this stuff. So now that it's all apart, if I decide to keep it, I'll clean those up. Or I might remove it, and then the fuel tank would just be visible and the frame would be visible, which I think might be a little bit better of a look than this thing in here. And as far as the cab goes, I think I'm 99.8% sure we're using the Town Car's floor and firewall. So firewall and floor in the truck cab got to go out. Big reason why is the floor it's not in the best of shape anyway. You can see here. And the center of it's pretty great, but sides aren't so great. And if we remove it and use the Crown Vic floor, that kind of saves us a little hassle with dealing with putting floors in this thing. So I think that's the plan. Gonna clean this gauge cluster up and make some wall art with it. Got a few dirt daubers hanging out back there. Got the rest of it over here. So that Town Car cluster will fit in there nicely. I did a kind of a test fit with that. That's gonna look good in there. And I've seen online everybody else that does this, they actually fit together really well. So kind of cool idea. This looks like an old heater box inside the cab here. I want to pull that out of there and get that cleaned up a little bit. And then ideally I'm going to run ductwork from the Town Car's heater box here. And it'll come out that old school looking heat box. Will that work? I don't know yet, but that's what I'd like to do with it. We'll see how that goes. If not, I might just leave the Town Car's heater box just behind the dash as is and put the controls in some sort of hidden, maybe in the glove box or something of the truck cab. And even without any ductwork, I'm sure it's a pretty small space to heat up. It would just blow out behind the dash and warm the cab up just fine. As far as the cab itself goes, obviously it's not perfect. You can see these cab corners. This side it's kind of non-existent. This side's just kind of damaged. If you keep the truck floor, you notch these to fit on the frame. But if you use the Crown Vic floor, you actually cut across, kind of following this line, I think, to about here. And so I'm going to have to still come up with something for that corner. But it's not urgent, and I kind of knew when I got this truck that it wasn't perfect, and that's kind of the whole idea. It's going to leave it kind of rough, and then, with the 05 car underneath it, it'll look like a rough, rusty truck, but hopefully run and drive pretty decent. I did pick these wheels up and threw them on here. These are off an 05 Mustang. They're 17-inch, kind of got the Cragar look to them, I guess. But the big thing is they hold air. The tires and wheels that were on it before, the corrosion where the bead met the tire was so bad that none of them would hold air for more than a minute. You'd fill them up and they'd start going low, and by the next day they'd be completely flat. So put these on it. Not sure they'll be the forever wheels, but got them for a great deal, and they'll look decent on there for a while. I think actually kind of fits the style of the retro cab. We got the front clip here, and I'm still debating on if we use these or not. Inside fender wells. I think for now I'm going to go without them. I'm going to try to save them though. I'm going to try not to damage them pulling them off here. The reason being is it just makes it a lot easier going on the front without those in the way. And the reason I do want them is obviously you get a few places to mount some things, you get some good places to ground some things. So My other thought was you cut them down and just use the sides of them or just the tops of them. We'll see. See what I decide to go with those. More than likely they're coming off just to get that on there. And yeah, we'll get this firewall and the floor cut out of this cab, hopefully by the end of the weekend here. And then I got to finish cutting up the town car. We got to pretty much everything here comes off, and we thin this out. I think we cut it about here, approximately. Windshield's going to come off. I'm going to hopefully take all the windshield with the A-pillar. I'm going to hopefully zip right along the bottom here, all the way around, and then the other A-pillar, and hopefully take that out as one big piece. So that's kind of the plan for the weekend. Finish getting the town car ready for the cab and get the cab ready for the town car. Once we have that, then I got to call in a favor from a friend or two and kind of test fit it on there. Head out of town to Las Vegas for the SEMA show. Man, I don't even know. I can't keep track of time, but real soon, probably 2 weeks from now at the most. So like to test fit the cab before I go. That's kind of my goal. Decided that I wanted to get that on there before I go out of town. And then while I'm down there, I can kind of look for a couple fun things for it. Did order a line lock lever, ball valve lever for it, so we can make it a fun burnout truck. And then what else? Well, let's check the board here. Put this whiteboard up. It's got a list on it. So got to finish cutting up the town car. Cut up the cab floor. Test fit the cab. Test fit the front clip. And once you do those two things, once that front clip and that cab's on there, you got to run it and driving truck and you start tightening up the wires. That's awesome. That's a great point to get to. And hopefully once we get that cab test fitted, the front clip goes on pretty quick. Then before we do anything with the back, I want to do some exhaust on here. I'm not going to do anything crazy, but I'm going to pull those two mufflers out of there and put something that makes a little noise in there. Do a fuel filter while we're at it. And then when I was cutting up the body, I nicked a brake line. So I got to do a brake line repair job on it here. Where's that at? Let's see if I can show you that. All right. See if you can. I don't know if you can see it or not, but right there, you can kind of see it. When I was cutting the floor here, nicked that brake line. So we got to repair that. Shouldn't be too bad. And then while we're doing brake line work, I got to figure out where I want to splice the line lock in. Let's take a look up here while we got it. Looks like it's just got two out. Yeah, and then it splits off the ABS. I don't know. Got to figure out how I want to split that because the line lock lever just uses one brake line, but it takes two hoses all the way out to the back here. And the line lock is designed to not allow pressure to go to the rear brakes, so that way when you're sitting there doing a brake stand, you're not holding down the back brakes at all, so then they can just spin freely, and it just locks up the front brakes. And that'll have on some sort of lever down on the floor in the cab of the truck. So we'll figure out how we want to plumb that further on down the road. Not super important right now, but as for now, finish getting the town car body off. We're really close. Get the truck cab ready and put them together. All right, we'll check back in once we make a little more progress later on this weekend. All right, back here with the cab, I think, and close to its ending position. Got the cab kind of sitting down flat. Wish I would have known what I did before I chopped up so much of the car. Turns out I needed to chop out more of the cab. If you remember, this little bubble piece here kind of went all the way down to here, and then there was another little bubble out. Once I got rid of those, it kind of fell right where it was supposed to go, so I kind of ended up taking out a little more of the town car than I needed to, and it's kind of mangled looking in there. So we're going to clean those up. I'll grind up the rough stuff, weld in some smooth plate over all of that, I think, just to help seal it up, and then do some seam sealer on it. But both sides will need that. It's still not in its final location. And the other thing I had to do, which I was kind of really didn't want to have to do, is I ended up pulling, you can't really tell from here, but there was a wiper motor mounted on that cowl. And I was hoping to be able to keep it, because I see a lot of people retrofit it with the town car's wiper motor, and it pretty much just works with the interior wiper controls. But I had to chop it off there to get the cab to sit. I don't know how other people have done it, unless your cab is too far forward, and maybe mine's too far back. we'll see how it goes. But I wanted the cab back a little further because I didn't want the steering wheel so far sticking out from the dashboard. So I pushed the cab back a few more inches, and when that column is upright, looks like there'll be enough room there with the seat to, have the steering wheel in a decent position. I'm gonna get rid of the town car wheel and put in like a low profile, like drift car wheel or something that pushes that even further in towards the dash. So that's that. It's just about time to leave for SEMA, so that's gonna end this video, but we're making progress. So got a few goodies for it here. LMC truck came in with a few things. We got some fresh door handles for the outside on the doors. We got all new lenses for the exterior lights, gaskets, and hardware. Got this little patch panel. This is gonna go where that fuel filler neck is. I'm gonna pull that out of there and weld this over it and then smooth that out. No intentions of painting over it. We'll weld it, sand it, grind it, let it rust, maybe put a little primer on it, but you can see this cab corner is pretty mangled. We'll fix that a little bit, but I have no real big intentions of making this look great on the outside other than some decent wheels and some nice tailpipes. I'm gonna replace all the trim on the truck with fresh, the custom cab logos on the doors will be fresh, the hood ornaments will be fresh, all that stuff will look fresh, but the rest of it's gonna be rough. It's kind of the look I'm going for. Interior hopefully will be kind of nice. See what we can come up with in here. Kind of hard to imagine it looking nice with this disaster in here, but it'll come together, I think. It's actually a lot better already than it was a few hours ago, so I don't know if we'll get that front to come down a little more. Kind of looks like it needs to still. Then I got to do some measuring about these fenders because I want to make sure that wheel ends up as close to center in the wheel well as possible. And other than that, that's going to wrap it up. Stay tuned for more. We'll be putting this together in the next couple of videos. Maybe it'll be a 3 or 4 part series. So like, subscribe, follow the channel, and if you're interested in any of that B&N Customs t-shirts, stickers, I got a lot of that. Honestly, right now, if you covered cost of shipping, I'd send it to you for nothing. So let me know if you're interested. Just send me a message or leave a comment below. All right, guys, thanks for watching.